Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a look at a deck list that I've been playing for about the past week, thanks to one of my friends, Mr. Darth Bean, over on Twitter. I'm in a Discord group with him and a few other awesome gentlemen, and I would say it's a pretty redacted time. But yeah, he played this list at San Diego and didn't do too hot, but we did see Amazing Ray make his showing into the top 8 because of Pablo Meza, aka Tablemon. And so this is a similar list without the Raikou, but we have the Kyogre in here. So we're playing Ray and Kyogre instead of Ray and Raikou, or Kyogre and Raikou together. This is the third piece of the puzzle here for this deck list. But yeah, so let me know what you think. Let's just dive right in. So to start things off, we've got 2 copies of Rayquaza from Vivid Voltage, the amazing Rayquaza. The attack, Amazing Burst for a Grass. Lightning and a Fighting does 80 damage times the amount of energy you discard of different types. So if you have the 3 default on here needed for the attack cost, you are hitting for 240 damage. You get an extra one on there, you're hitting for 320. You get a 5th one on there, you're hitting for 400. I can't do math apparently, neither can anybody else. Welcome to Pokemon. But yeah, this never really got any time in Standard at all to play until more recently with the Mirage Gate from Lost Origin to really open this up. So that's like your main attacker, your Pokemon finisher, your boss killer, whatever you want to call it. And then we've got the Kyogre from Celebrations with the attack Aqua Storm here for 2 water and a color. Let's discard the top 5 cards of your deck and then choose up to 2 of your opponent's benched Pokemon. This attack does 50 damage for each energy you discarded in this way to those Pokemon. So if you somehow discard 5, then you're going to hit 2 Pokemon for 250, and that can end the game and take, 4 prize cards on 2 Vs or V-Stars. But the real point of this is to end the game with this. When your deck's very small, we have a way to put 5 energy cards into the deck and just make sure that that's all that's in the deck. And that way you can guarantee you doing enough damage to win the game with the Kyogre here. And to support these, of course, we are playing the Lost Zone, and we've got 4 copies of Comfey. We have the ability Flower, selecting with the top 2 cards of your deck when it's in the active spot, put 1 in your hand and 1 in the Lost Zone. So you're just generating card advantage every time you get to use these. It's a once per turn until you're able to pick it up and reset it. And there's tons of ways to pivot through and move around all these Comfeys, and we'll get to all that in a little bit here. To continue with the Lost Zone support, of course, we have 2 copies of Cramorant with the ability Lost Provisions. If you have 4 cards in the Lost Zone, ignore all energy requirements in the attack cost, so you can hit for 110 for free. Feels really good. Set up some chip damage, start poking away at your opponent's Pokemon. And then, of course, we are playing Sableye. We're playing 2 copies of it here. For the attack Lost Mine, if you have 10 cards in Lost Zone, put 12 damage counters in your opponent's Pokemon any way you like, so that way you can just kind of finish off multiple Pokemon or take off key pieces or set them up for future turns to be KO'd with a hit Cramorant or Kyogre, whatever else. Sableye is definitely a game ender in this situation here in this deck. Moving along with some more Pokemon, we do have a single copy of Radiant Greninja, because you'll only play one anyways. Through the ability Concealed Cards, discard energy and draw 2. And you can also use Moonlight Shuriken. In this list, we do play Water Energy to fulfill Kyogre's requirements. For 2 water and a colors, discard 2 energy from this Pokemon and do 90 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. So earlier in the game, you can definitely use Moonlight Shuriken once your Mirage Gates are activated, so you can just start hitting things for 90 and 90. And if you're playing in the mirror, it's really good against Comfeys and Sableyes, and it also helps you just set up for Sableye later in the game. Coming down to the end of the Pokemon, we do have a copy of Oranguru in here for Primate Wisdom. Switch a card from your hand to the top card of your deck, and just, that way you can combo it off with whatever else you need. If you need to put an extra energy card in your deck at a certain moment for Mirage Gate, it works really well. If you want to eliminate a card, say like a Battle VIP Pass from your hand, put it on top, and then Flower selecting or use Colress to get rid of that card, and just send it to the Lost Zone as like a, like a nice anchor piece. And last but not least in the Pokemon, we do have a copy of Manaphy with the ability Wave Veil to protect your benched Pokemon from damage from attack. So in this case, Kyogre, Greninja, and so on and so forth. Amazing Raikou is another one that's super popular that can definitely steamroll if they can't take care of the Manaphy, so you definitely want to keep Manaphy rocking and rolling here. All right, on to the supporters. Not too much to work with here. We are playing 4 copies of Chloris's Experiment. Look at the top 5 cards. Put 3 into your hand and 2 into your lost zone. So it's like a draw 3, but also start setting up your lost zone and getting cards there, so you can get to your magic numbers of 4, 7, and 10 to do all the different things with this deck. Then we've got 2 copies of Raihan here. When your opponent takes a knockout during their last turn, you can attach an energy card from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon and then search your deck for any card you need. So this combos really well with the Ray and the Kyogre. That way you can attach an energy, and then Mirage Gate can finish off the requirements for the attack and grab you whatever card you need from the deck. It also can work really well with Sableye and Greninja, or I've seen situations where you have to use a retreat, so use the Raihan onto a Comfey. That way you can guarantee yourself a pivot into another attacker, so on and so forth. Then we've got 1 copy of Boss's Orders for our Gusting effect. You do a lot of bench sniping and damage, so Gusting isn't super important in this deck compared to a normal one where you need to be able to boss up the right target and take a KO on it with a normal style attack. But because we can do so much damage around the board in general, 1 copy of Boss is enough. We've also got 1 copy of Clara to pick up and put back energy or Pokemon from the discard pile, up to 2 of each, into our hand. Pretty straightforward. That's it for the supporters. We'll move along to the items. I'm going to start placing them on the bottom for space. But we've got 4 copies of Quick Ball. Discard a card from your hand. Search your deck for a basic Pokemon. You know the drill on that one. Then we've got 4 copies of Battle VIP Pass. If you're going first, or it's your first turn going second, you can grab 2 basic Pokemon from your deck and put them on your bench. This really helps you get set up with like Greninja and Comfey, and whatever else pieces you're missing to start playing your turns off very successfully. And of course, this is just like a dead card after your first turn of the game, so you just get rid of it with Flower Selecting or Chloris, or discard it with Quick Ball. Bada boom, bada bing, and it's gone. We've got 1 copy of Hisuian Heavy Ball to search our prizes for a basic Pokemon. All of our Pokemon we play are basic, so if there's one of them the prizes, or like the one of Kyogre, Manaphy, Greninja, Rangaroo, they're in the prizes, you can grab them with Hisuian Heavy Ball. This takes the place in the prize cards, and you can use it again if you take it again from a prize card. Alright, then we've got our 4 copies of Mirage Gate, the real piece of the deck that makes this thing pop off. When you have 7 cards or more in the Lost Zone, you can search your deck for 2 different energy types and put them onto your Pokemon in any way you like. This thing is absolutely insane, and we definitely play multiple energy types. So that sets up all of your combos for Greninja, Kyogre, Rayquaza, and whatever else you may need. But this thing is absolutely insane. And then we've got 4 copies of Scoop Up. Now you can pick up a non V or GX Pokemon. Luckily for us, we don't play any, so we can pick up every single Pokemon and put it back into our hand. And this is really a good way to keep the flower selectings going, or you can reuse and abuse things like Greninja and Rangaroo, since they're another once per turn effect. You can just pick them up, rebench them, and reuse it again. And for all of our pivoting to continue, because this will help pivot with the Comfey loops, we've got 2 copies of Switch Cart. Switch a basic Pokemon out of the active to the bench, and if you do so, you can heal 30, and that does matter sometimes. The heal with the chip damage, especially in a mirror match where like they're kind of poking away at something. You heal the 30 off. It makes it a little bit harder for Sableye or Greninja to clean up on you. Then we've got 1 copy of Air Balloon, another retreat option. Retreat reduced by 2. Really good for a Rangaroo or whatever else. Just play this when you need it specifically, not necessarily just like blindly putting it down is not the way to play it. More switch options. We do have 2 copies of Escape Rope. Your opponent switches first, then you do. Another way to pivot around and continue using flower selectings. And then we've got our recovery options here. We've got 2 copies of Ordinary Rod shuffle back from your deck. 2 basic, I'm sorry, no, they're all basic, but 2 Pokemon or 2 basic energy, and get them back into the deck. Pretty straightforward on that one. Get your Comfeys, whatever you discard, your Rays, Kyogre, so on and so forth, back into the deck, so you can grab them again with Quick Ball or all of your flower selecting options, or your Raihan or your Chloris, and then put 2 energy back in so you can reuse Mirage Gate. And then in terms of putting energy back in, we have 2 copies of Energy Recycler. You can put up to 5 basic energy from the discard pile back into the deck, and again, that's your end game piece with Kyogre. If you get to the point where you need to play multiple Mirage Gates at the end, Energy Recycle will do that for you. And the last trainer card is a Pokestop here. Spin to win is a term I heard on the stream this weekend for the regional. Once during either player's turn, you can discard the top 3 cards of your deck. If you hit any item cards, they go to your hand. Everything else gets discarded. So we play a lot of items. So the odds of you hitting this off feels pretty good. And our energy count is a little bit weird. And I kind of spread this deck out a little bit awkward, I guess. But we're playing 3 basic water, 2 basic psychic, 2 basic lightning, 2 basic grass, and 2 basic fighting energy. You need the lightning, fighting, and grass for Rayquaza. So we have 2 of each of those. You've got Sableye, which needs psychic, and you've got water needed for Greninja and Kyogre. Since there's multiple targets of water needed, then that's why we're playing 3. That 1 extra just gets in there pretty clutch, especially since they both require 2 water to attack. That way, if you prize one, you're not completely out of the equation. Or if you have to Lost Zone one, that's also a problem too. This is definitely not the easiest deck to play, I will say. You definitely want to be able to know what the Lost Zone, and you really have to manage your energy and keep track of like, okay, crap, I prized one, I have to Lost Zone one, then I can't use insert Pokemon's name here until we get to that point and take those out of the prize cards. But this deck is absolutely an absolute ton of fun to play. I ripped apart my Giratina list to play this the past week at locals, and it had an absolute good time with this. Raffle stomping everybody, and got some prize packs, which I saved for some shorts. So if you want to see some league prize packs get opened, check out the channel for some YouTube shorts. Of course, you can subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoy the content here. I would appreciate that sort of support. And as well, if you want to become a member of the channel, as low as 99 cents a month to support the content in addition to everything else you guys do. I appreciate all of that. But yeah, that's it for me. Again, thanks to Bean for the list. I'll have his Twitter down below where he shared this as well. But yeah, if you want to see more stuff like this, of course, come on back. I'll see you next time. Take it easy.